America will be more exceptional than ever before. Trump did hit out at the former administration of the now former president of the United States of America, Joe Biden. He says he was saved by God to make America great again. Donald J. Trump will begin the restoration of America again, and he started by declaring national emergency at the southern border, and he also declared cartels as foreign terrorists organization. On the energy of America, the president also says America will drill, baby, drill, and orders the cabinet to bring down cost and inflation. He also went on to declare national energy emergency. Donald J. Trump says a society cannot be full of racism. He says he wants to build a society which doesn't see color. So Donald J. Trump has been sworn in as the president, the 47th president of the United States of America, and several leaders have already congratulated the president. Some of them include Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, NATO Chief Mark Rutte. We also have Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau congratulating the president. I'll just go through some of them and their congratulation messages to Donald J. Trump and his administration. But so far, Trump is about to sign that document, that crucial document, which happens every or after every swearing-in ceremony. And after he signs that document, he will bid farewell to Joe Biden at the same venue and say goodbye to him. All right, so this is what is happening right now in the United States. Susan Tehran is our correspondent. She's in New York. Susan, did you see or did you witness the event?
Yes, I did. I was lucky enough to witness it here in Trump Tower. Behind me, there was a watch party and, big television screens for everyone to see. There was a private party that was ticketed, an event, but nonetheless, anyone that walked into Trump Tower was able to watch that inauguration and, feel the mood with balloons and, USA themed everything basically. So yeah, I was part of that crowd and I watched it from inside Trump Tower here in New York.
Mm-hmm. Susan, Trump hit from the hip when it came to declaring some of the things or declarations that he's having in his administration. What do you think about that? Because he was very steadfast. You could feel it from how he was, saying that the previous administration has failed the nation and has failed the state. And they had various challenges, and those challenges are no more under his administration.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see the president, Donald Trump, really take aim at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the past 4 years and their policies. He was very direct when he was talking about how there's a healthcare system that is spending so much money, but that isn't providing for everyone. He said we go and defend others' borders without being able to defend our own borders. He talked about distrust in government. I mean, all of these were aimed at the Biden administration, of course. And also, he did talk about government policy of trying to, quote, socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of private and public life. He talked about gender issues. When he said that we are going to once again make normal that men are men and women are women, at Trump Tower during that watch party, the crowd just started clapping, as they did in Washington, D.C., of course, in the rotunda. But it was interesting to see how his supporters really are also focused on those social issues, the issue that he really ran on and worked on, which is, biological males and female bathrooms in sports and whatnot. That really resonated with the crowd here. So, yeah, he was shooting from the hip. It's a very different Donald Trump than the first time that he was in office. It looks like he knows his way around. He was more confident, less confrontational, but nonetheless, Donald Trump is Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is back. Susan, we are still live at the Capitol, and we are witnessing the change of guard or the handover of the baton. Could you explain to us what really happens next? Because we understand that the new president will be signing a document.
He will be signing a document after this, and we do know that there are about 20,000 supporters at the Capital One Arena, and I've seen on social media that a desk, a microphone, and a chair similar to the executive office has been set there. Many are wondering whether or not he wants to sign those executive orders in front of the crowd, or is that desk for something else? So that'll be very interesting, definitely to see. But, this was very interesting. And I think that what's also making headlines is the fact that the three previous presidents, not Biden, but President Bush, President Clinton, and President Obama, they're not going to be at the luncheon that is held after this event for President Trump. So that was noteworthy. Neither they or their spouses are going to be present. Of course, we know Michelle Obama wasn't present at all, as she wasn't during the Carter funeral. But it's interesting to see that they decided not to take part in this luncheon.
Well, this is indeed a peaceful transition of power in the United States. We are witnessing a peaceful transition of power where the now current president, Donald Trump, has seen off the former president, Joe Biden. What happens next from there? Susan, I'm still with you. What happens from there? Where do they go? Because we are seeing Joe Biden is taking a flight.
Yes, we are told that Joe Biden is expected to take his final flight. He's expected to go to Delaware. And, Donald Trump, he's going to continue with the ceremonies. Of course, after that lunch, he's going to be taking part in three balls. There's going to be the balls and the celebrations and the unofficial events that are going to take place. We're not going to see the parade. The parade is something that was, of course, very noteworthy every year, where the president and his family walk towards the White House to their new home, or in Donald Trump's case, to his previous home. And, that because of cold weather in Washington, D.C., that's not going to happen. So that's not going to happen. Some event is going to happen indoor. That's what we're expecting. But, definitely subdued. I do know that they wanted to bring that Trump garbage truck during the parade. That's not going to happen. But nonetheless, these are the events after this official ceremony. And of course, those executive orders that you mentioned are the ones that are going to happen that are very important.
Susan, there was something very interesting that Trump did mention during his speech, and I want us to talk about it. He did say that he wants to address the issue of racism in the United States, and he did say that he wants a society which is colorblind and doesn't see gender. And the only gender in the United States from now, he declares, is male and female. How do you think that is going to pan out?
Yeah, that's very interesting. And that's the point that I was making, that when he talked about the issue of gender, how the crowd really here erupted and, cheer and joy. It appears that, that is an issue that resonated with a lot of voters. The way the Trump campaign framed the issue of gender was basically having biological men in women's bathrooms and women's sports, and how unfair that is. And those are the aspects that resonated with them. But I think it's also interesting to note that Donald Trump, he thanked the Black voters and the Hispanic voters. He said, "I will have your back. I won't forget what you did for me. And of course, it's Martin Luther King Day here, national holiday. He did allude to some of the values that Dr. King installed here during the civil rights movement. So he was referring to that, but it'll be interesting to see how this will pan out, because, when he talks about basically the gender issues, it's very wide ranging. He can get a lot of criticism for that, but it was interesting to see that he has also nominated Scott Bassett, for example, for Treasury, that he's a gay man. You have Tammy Bruce that's going to be working. So the LGBTQ community is represented in his administration. I think it's these issues when it comes to sports and female bathrooms, and the issue where women don't feel really secure is where that was what resonated with voters.
All right, Susan Teherani is our correspondent. She's in New York. Susan, stay with me. I'll come back to you later. If you're just joining us, the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, has been sworn in. He's now the President of the United States of America. What you're seeing on your screens right now is the former President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, leaving Washington, D.C. We understand he's headed to Delaware. That is Joe Biden and Jill Biden. So right now, Donald Trump is the 47th President of the U.S. He says the golden age of America has just begun. He says he's adding that the country will flourish and be respected under his leadership. And he also says he wants to leave a legacy where he will be thought as a peacemaker and a unifier. Elizabeth Lawrence is a senior fellow at Atlantic Council Indo-Pacific Security Initiative. She's now joining us live on this broadcast. Elizabeth, good to see you. What do you make of this inauguration ceremony, and what do you make of Trump coming back?
Certainly historic. He's the only second president in the United States to do this. And the last president who did it was back in the late 1800s. So this is something that a lot of people thought they would never see. The ceremony went off without a hitch, other than Carrie Underwood not having musical accompaniment, but she has a beautiful voice, and so she sang a cappella, which was really impressive.
Right.
I thought the speech, do you want me to talk about the speech?
Yes, let's talk about the speech. There are some different aspects that we are going to talk about the speech. What do you make of some of these declarations? Because he says he began by restoring, or what he says, restoration of America again. He says he'll start declaring national emergency at the southern border, and he also declared cartels as foreign terrorist organization. Let's start from there. Because this has been a long-going issue, and now he's addressed it.
Right. Well, he did indicate that he has a mandate now to govern. He did not have ability to declare a mandate back in 2016 because he did not win the popular vote. This time around, the Republicans won not only the White House, but the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives. So he feels much more confident in his ability to carry out what the public really wants. The number one issue in the 2024 campaign was illegal immigration. It was the economy as well. High inflation, high prices. But immigration and crime really was, I believe, the ticket-winning strategy. And the Biden administration, unfortunately for them, was quite weak on that. And so there was speculation that he would declare, that as President Trump would declare, the cartels, the drug cartels, foreign terrorists. And I think you heard the amount of applause. This speech reminded me very much of former President Reagan's 84 campaign, It's Morning in America, in that it's a new day. Trump's speech in 2016, I would call it, clean the swamp. speech, but he was not able to clean the swamp because he didn't control Congress. This speech, he didn't talk about cleaning the swamp, right? He talked about all the new day, that America, it's not only good, but America is strong, and we are coming back strong, not just in foreign policy.
He calls it the golden age of America. He calls it the golden age of America. He says he wants to be a peacemaker. He wants to be remembered as a unifier. He also says a lot of things. I also want us to talk about something else that he did say. He said that the Gulf of Mexico will now be the Gulf of America, and that will be his first thing that he will do as an executive order. What do you make of that?
Well, the Gulf of Mexico is a geographical term. It's a name of a place. And so it's very cheeky that he unilaterally is going to change the name of a place. So he can certainly, in the United States, and I guess if he wants to, when he meets foreign leaders, refer to it as the Gulf of America. Geographically, changing the name of places is a bit more nuanced. He'll probably have a little bit more ease in renaming Denali, McKinley again. I'm sure he'll run into some opposition from, the American indigenous tribes there and Native Americans. I think that might be an easier haul than completely changing the name of the Gulf.